Hey guys, welcome to the wind turbine build video. Today we're going to walk through building the wind turbine as it was shipped deconstructed. So let's jump in. Okay, so the steps for installing the wind turbine will be as follows. First, we're going to add the shaft to the wind turbine. Then we're going to add the discs at the top and bottom. Then we're going to have to build each of the individual blades or sails. And finally, we're going to need to attach those. And we're also going to need to sort out these three-phase cables as it ships with them just cut. And obviously that's not terribly weatherproof. So we're going to have to put a weatherproof connector on there. Okay, let's go. So first of all, we've got a packet of screws and nuts. So let's open that up and work out what we've got. Now personally, I can't recommend these highly enough. These are nut trays and they have a big magnetic base on them. So when you drop a nut in, it sticks to the tray. Looks like we've got some ground anchors included in the install as well. Not sure they're big enough for our application though. Looks very solid. So there's 6 mounting screws total. I'm assuming the 2 holes goes on the bottom. So we've got 4 of these that they look like they fit quite nicely. And then we've also got 2 of these rub screws. So I'm assuming we're going to need 2 of these at the bottom, along with 2 of the other screws at the bottom and 2 of the other screws at the top. So looking at this disc, it looks like this is the bottom disc. It's got a large countersunk hole in it. So I assume we're going to drop that over and we'll be aligning that with the upper hole. Let's do these up. Just finger tight for now. Again, we'll torque these up right at the end. Now the question is whether this goes that way or that way. Perhaps we should build a sail first and check. Okay, 3 ribs. I believe they're meant to be on the top there. Just square the section that's been bent. This section here appears to have a cut in it. Not sure why. This one looks like it's also had a slight cut, you can see. See if we can get these at least fitted finger tight. Fixed. Doesn't look terribly straight. But let's see how the rest of this goes together. Doesn't seem to align too well, but again, we can give it a go. Does not seem to want to fit through there. Very tight. And get the other end lined up. Again, requiring the screwdriver to get it through the paint. No major issues there. Seems to have gone on quite well. As you can see, all the nuts are in place. Lower half is another single piece. It's got the text on this one. And once we get the first 2 in, it should be straightforward. Definitely want to build this on a piece of wood or something soft so you don't scratch it. So as you can see on the inside, that's actually aligned really nicely. No obvious gaps. Feels relatively sturdy. Just needs the additional support across the bottom here. And then that should, hopefully, fit somewhere around there. And something tells me we're going to have to take off this lower disc and get it the other way around. Still slightly concerned with the amount of play in these as well. There is an instructional video on Tesup's website. However, it's not particularly clear which parts go where. I'm still not sure how I'm going to get the bolts into the bottom of these. It should be interesting. Yeah, that's pretty nipped up already. There's still quite a bit of play in it. Always start these by hand because you don't want to strip them. Yeah, that is very tight. Definitely don't want to strip it. There's still quite a bit of play in there. Not ideal in the wind turbine where you don't really want a huge amount of wiggle. Joys of magnetic trays, huh? There's one. And there's the other. A bit too magnetic. Slightly concerned about the hole in the top of this in terms of weather ingress, but I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully there's a cap included or something. Yeah, that one is a lot tighter at the top. This lower one, loads of play. Bolts are not going in anywhere near as far. And I think we might have to lift this up. Might be worth just dropping these into the holes here. Seeing how low we can get it before it interferes with it. Yeah, so there's our issue. Playing that at all now. Much more sturdy. Quite sharp edges on these though, so mind your fingers. So let's play the guessing game of which screws should I use for this one. To make sure we've got the right holes on the inside. A lot harder to align than the other one. Just this end one, for some reason, does not want to align. Box section is not aligning properly for some reason. Look identical to me. Just the inner hole, not lining up at all. Clearly needs to move to the outer edge a bit more because this is now aligned here. This bolt's still in place. Quite happy. This one is where it's going to get interesting. This one does go through, but only just. Okay, so a small amount of thought later, taking the rib off, and I marked where the hole is with a Sharpie. As you can see, quite a way out. So there's only one thing for it, pillar drill. If in doubt, multi-tool. Now it's not perfect, but it's a much larger slot. See if that works. Let's see if we can get this to work now. Now we just need to do another 2 of these. So that'll be fun. Oh, look at that. Fits. I swear I'm losing the plot. Battery died on the phone, unfortunately, so let's continue working on this and hopefully we can get the other 2 parts of this built. Let's go. definitely recommend putting the bottom in first and then sliding the top in afterwards. A lot easier that way. Now we've just got to find 2 more screws. So there we go, one fully assembled Atlas 4. As you can see, moves nice and freely, no issues. Now that I've completed the build, I've got a few comments on the quality of the kit. Generally seemed to go together pretty straightforwardly, but there wasn't actually any instructions in the box. There was, however, a handy video that Tesup provided on their website, although it was hard to tell which bolts were which, and originally I put the wrong bolts in the first sale that I put together. I did sort that out in the end, and there were also 2 bolts missing. The missing bolts were M6 by 30mm bolts with nuts, and they're the ones that hold the blades top and bottom. Now, in terms of other improvements I would like to see, this potentially is going to vibrate a lot, and so having nylock nuts on the end of these screws or the end of these bolts would probably help significantly in stopping any nuts coming undone over time due to the vibrations caused by the wind and weather. So that's something I'm going to look at adding before I mount it. Now then, as you may have noticed during the build, I did have some issues with the fitment of the ribs. Getting the sails actually onto the ribs, I did have to drill out 2 out of 3 of these ribs in order to get the bolts through accurately. It doesn't seem to have affected structural rigidity at all, and the holes that I drilled with the pillar drill seem to work really well. But other than that, the whole kit went together pretty smoothly. Now, in terms of other modifications that I might make to the wind turbine, I've been looking at where the AC cables come out the side, and there's just a big hole here, and I'm concerned about the weather getting in. So I've ordered a set of grommets and some heat shrink and some cable braid. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some cable braid onto these cables, and we're going to put a grommet into this hole to try and seal it and keep it as weather tight as possible. And then we've got a 3-pole IP68 adapter, 100 amp coupler, and this should allow us to put on just a nice terminal to the end of this, and then we can couple it into some cable that we can run the 3-phase down. Now I'm probably going to use either some armoured SVA 4mm or potentially just some 4mm flex. Tesup have obviously decided that these are big enough cables. They appear to be about 4mm diameter. So 4mm should be enough to handle the output of this. Okay, so that just about does it for this video. If you've got any questions or comments, please put them down below and I'll try and get through and answer as many as I possibly can. I'd very much appreciate it if you can subscribe to the channel. We're just starting out, so any shares or subscriptions all helps the channel out massively. And please remember to drop a like if you've enjoyed the video. Thank you.